We're at Rock and Roll Harley Davidson in Cleveland, Ohio, and today we're here to check out the new 2023 models. As you can tell, this weather's pretty crappy, so let's go on inside and check out the new models. All right, guys, we're out here with Kevin, and he's going to go over all the new 2023 models that they have. We're going to start off over here with the road glides that nobody really likes. We all know street glides are way better, but so let's start off with road glide or street glide.
Road glide.
Okay, all right, we're going to end the interview here. So now, why don't you go ahead and go over some of the colors that you guys have for the new 2023?
Yeah, of course. So right here we actually have our 23 model in Prospect Gold. This one happens to be out on the blacked out trim. It's probably one of my favorite ones that have came out this year thus far. Next up, we also have the Baja Orange, which this is also one of those in-your-face kind of colors, but absolutely gorgeous on this bike as well. We do also have a Redline Red in one of our Road Glide standards that are going to be on this side. And of course, the ever-known Vivid Black.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a standard all across the board anytime one comes out.
So if you're going out to Sturgis and you don't want to find your bike, you get the black, right?
For the most part, you know.
Now, these are all the colors that you have. Now, are you able to order in any different other colors? Was there any other colors that these came in?
So there are a few other colors that did come out for them as well. The one I'm really hoping to see is actually the Anniversary Edition. I'm leaning towards getting that Road Glide Anniversary personally.
Yeah.
Just because it's quite beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad for a Road Glide, guys. I like the paint scheme with how the eagles on the fairing, and then it just flows with the rest of the bike. It's actually pretty good looking, and they changed that logo on the tank. That's a beautiful logo for the anniversary model.
Oh, I agree with you.
So there's a little bit of controversy with the gold wing. I've seen some memes online. They said, Harley Davidson decided to bring the paint scheme for like a 90-something gold wing. What do you think about that?
I laughed the first time I saw it, just because I was very excited when I saw it, and then when my buddy actually showed me that meme, I couldn't help but laugh. But you know, everyone's going to have their remarks one way or another.
Right. Yeah.
Until you see it in person, then you're like, wow.
As you said, when I saw it on the actual video, after I saw that little meme, which was hilarious, there's so much more detail in that paint than just, I think the gold wing paint was just bland. So, I mean, there's no comparison over that.
I agree.
All right, now Kevin's over here. Now we're at an actual real bike over here, the Street Glide. That's what everybody likes. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about this color right here.
So this one here is going to be our Street Glide Special. This one happens to be in the two-tone with the industrial yellow and the vivid black. It also, if you notice, down to the fine detailing of the red pinstripe through it as well on the blacked out trim. This is one of those where when I saw it in picture, it was kind of like, eh. But then when I saw it in person, I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty sweet. So
yeah, when I first saw this color online, I'm like, I don't know, guys. That didn't look very attractive to me, but after seeing it, I like it, but it's still not my flavor. If you like the yellow, this is a good looking yellow. So now, is there any new features on these 23s that maybe they didn't have on the 22s?
So features are going to be relatively the same as what they had on the 22s, mainly just color options as of right now.
Okay. Now, do these come with any aftermarket exhaust? I know some Harley dealers, they'll throw on some Tab Performance on the back just to get them out the door.
Sure. I mean, there are some that we have actually already added on either docking hardware, because sometimes people want either a backrest or something, so that way we just make it a little bit more easier, so that way it's an out-of-the-box kind of go. We typically, at our dealership, we like to throw in the heel shifter, because when you think of a touring bike, you think of the heel toe. I believe it was 2020 when they rolled out with just the toe, because they saw that a lot of the riders that were coming up from like the Dynas and everything were taking the heel off because they were so used to just having the toe. But then we were also seeing a lot of people saying, like, why isn't the heel on?
Right, yeah, that's an interesting point. When I saw that they stopped taking that heel shifter off, I'm like, what are they doing? I was surprised that they took off that heel shifter and then started talking to some more people, and some people just don't like it. And I absolutely love mine.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a preference sometimes. I could do with or without. I mean, I'm originally from California, so I was a Dynabro.
Okay.
You know, so I get it. But at the same time, if you got some nice shoes on or some nice boots and you don't want to scuff up your toe every time,
Right.
that heel definitely comes into convenience-wise.
Now we're over here with the Lowrider S, the Heritage, and the Lowrider ST. So let's talk about these a little bit here.
The Lowrider S, this one has been a very popular one. It's one of those where when the Dyno series actually ended up getting closed out, they saw that a lot of people were kind of missing this bike. So this is kind of what they put in place. With this one in particular, it does come in the white sand pearl. This year, it's coming in either the vivid black or white sand pearl, either one of the two. Of course, it does have the featured 117 cubic inch motor in there, which is the biggest coming straight from the motor company without going into the stage upgrades and everything, along with the bronze accents in the rims, as well as even the lettering in the decal itself on the side of the tank.
This is definitely a beautiful bike. I kind of like how they did the dash here. It's kind of like a rough and it's all over the bike. That's, do you know what kind of material that is, or?
So it's a wrinkled black material. It is definitely a nice finish to kind of break up that pattern of the glossed over to the wrinkled portion of it. With that finish, it definitely does help kind of take away kind of that scuff kind of look.
Right.
And it keeps it real clean at the same time and lets the paint actually speak for itself.
Okay, now let's move on over to the Heritage. Tell me a little bit about this.
This is our 23 model Heritage. It's absolutely gorgeous in the Prospect Gold on the blacked out trim. Definitely makes it pop a lot. Really just an ultimate ride as far as if you're looking for something that's kind of in the middle of the bird kind of thing, where you're on a soft tail, but it kind of feels like a cruiser at the same time.
Yeah, this would definitely be a little more doable to do touring on this compared to the Lowrider.
Last year they had both as far as like the rims and everything, they had either the mag rims or the laced rims. They only actually come in lace this year.
Okay.
So kind of give it more of that nostalgic look of what a Heritage always was coming throughout the years. It does come on either the chrome or blacked out package for it as well.
Does it cost more to get the blacked out over the chrome, or are they about the same?
So blacked out is a little bit more, just because it actually is a little harder to make in the manufacturing process.
Okay.
So that's why chrome, they've had that already down throughout the years to make it as easier as it is. So with the blacked out package, not saying that it is extremely difficult, but it's also easier to see little imperfections. So it takes just more time to actually make the blacked out in comparison to chrome, which is why it does cost a little bit more.
All right, now we're over here at the Lowrider ST. This is a little different. When did this come out? 2022?
Correct.
Okay.
So this was one of those where they hadn't put them online, either the Lowrider S or the Lowrider ST yet, because this was one of their special announcements for the 22 model year.
Okay.
Reason for it being was because it actually came out with that 117 cubic inch engine. So they wanted to throw that out there as a here we are kind of thing.
Right.
One of the things you'll notice with it, though, is that with the Lowrider ST, the whole reason for the ST quite literally stands for Sport Touring.
Right.
So this is a kind of a hats off towards the FXR touring models back in the early 90s. They saw that a lot of people were, like the motor company itself saw that they were building them out to be towards that old frame, or old kind of model, I want to say, with that having that FXRT fairing on there, and then also having bags in the back. This actually, right out of the box, already has that fairing on there, has the lockable clamshell bags on the back as well, and again with the bronze accents on the tank itself for the emblem as well. Overall, an absolutely beautiful bike.
I haven't seen too many of these out on the road, but I think we'll definitely see them more. So they lift up the saddlebags a little bit because it's sportier, so that way you can get into the curves a little more?
So with this model, they actually did increase the lift in the rear by about an inch, so that way when you are going into your lean angles and everything, you're not going to be scraping either shouldn't say that. You could possibly still scrape your pegs in,
Right.
in your exhaust, depending on how hard you get into it.
Right, yeah.
But they did lift it up in the rear just so that way you can have a little bit more lean angle and kind of get a little bit more aggressive riding depending on your riding style and everything. I'm glad you mentioned the bags. That's actually something that they did have from the Sport Glide that they transferred over to the ST model as of last year.
These look like they open a little differently.
It still has
Oh,
the
wow.
one-touch handle on the side, opens up as a clamshell,
Wow.
and it's also easy to take off as well. There's actually a little lever in here, pulls right up, and you'll see this little red flag that'll pop up.
Oh, wow.
Once you do that, go ahead and just close it real quick, and it just slides right off,
Wow.
and you're able to have more of a stripped-down bike if need be as well. And these are completely lockable as well, so if you do have something while you're traveling around, don't want to take everything inside with you, you could lock these bags with knowing the convenience of all your stuff is still safe.
Right, and it's almost easy enough if you're out on a trip, just take them off and bring them in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're over here at the 2023 Tri-Glide. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about this bad boy?
Yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite colors that they came out with for the Tri-Glide that I've seen in person so far. It's in the Prospect Gold and two-tone with the Vivid Black, again with the red pinstriping through it to really just kind of emphasize the different colors. What's huge with these two is the fact that, you know, you have that convenience of not having to put your feet down when you're at a stop or anything, which makes it real comfortable. At the same time, it's like sitting on the couch. You know,
Right.
You could ride for 10 hours and not even realize you just rode for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Really comfortable overall for not only the rider, but the passenger as well. You have all the convenience factors of having navigation with the system as if you wanted to also connect your phone to it for music that you play from there. You have the speakers up front, both for yourself and then also in the passenger side as well. Then of course you have the convenience of not only having the touring pack in the back to hold some stuff, but also a trunk in the rear.
It's a great option for when you're getting older, your knees are getting bad, and you don't want to stop riding. My dad has a Tri-Glide and absolutely loves it. Now we're over here at the Pan America Special. Kevin's going to go ahead and tell me a little about this one.
Yeah, so this bike is one of the most, if not the most, technologically advanced motorcycles that Harley's gotten into in quite some time. Overall with this, there's a lot you could talk about just because it is so new. It's been so far one of the most popular motorcycles that Harley has made in quite some time. When it was first announced, I believe it was halfway through 2021, it took the market by storm. You know, and a lot of people were thinking like, hey, you know, what are they doing? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But everybody that has ridden one has absolutely fallen in love with it. They have so many different different settings as far as if you wanted to just stay on the street, go real quick on these. They have different ride modes between road, sport, rain mode. So this way it actually gives less torque and you're not slipping out at the same time. But then there's also your off-road modes and off-road plus, which kind of makes it, the off-road plus makes it ride kind of a bit more like a dirt bike. So that way, if you want to get squirrely going up a hill, you can.
Okay.
Overall, this one in particular, this is actually one of our new 2023 models, going to be in the industrial yellow and the white sand pearl two-tone. It does feature with the tubeless spokes, which is really nice. So the spokes actually run on the outside of the rim itself. So this way, if you, let's say you are going off-road and everything and you end up snapping one, it's not going to puncture your tire.
That's great.
I mean, that's huge. You know, this is one of those bikes that if you want to go around the mountain, you can, but if you want to climb it, you can do that too. So,
as far as the spokes go, is that just a look thing, or does it actually have some type of purpose?
it depends on what you're trying to do. Now, they do come in either the mag style rims, which I actually have a 22 right next to it. That has the mag style rims on it. The spokes, we see that more for individuals that are trying to be more off-road than on.
Okay.
Sometimes it is kind of just a preference though. I mean, the biggest talking point on this bike is definitely going to be that Revolution Max motor. First time we saw the Revolution motor was actually in the V-Rods.
Okay.
They actually revamped these. This is going to be all new as far as like the technology wise, again, going into it, where they quite literally built the frame around the motor. You know, this thing actually puts so much power output. At stock, it's 150 horsepower.
Holy cow.
So it's chain driven, Brembo racing brakes on there. You even have like an Öhlins fork stabilizer on the top. Like They did not leave any expense out on this motorcycle because they wanted to really show the market what we could do.
I think a lot of hate was put towards this bike from the older riders. The older guys are saying, you know, "Oh, that ain't a Harley."
It's pretty notorious with Harley riders. We don't like change.
Right, exactly.
It is what it is. But, you know, as we adapt to things and really just see what it comes down to as far as the different riding styles and different motors
Right.
throughout the years, you know.
I'm only 5'9", so obviously, I mean, this thing is super high. Can a shorter rider ride this?
Absolutely. So this bike in particular actually has adaptive ride height on here.
Okay.
So what that means is in the forks itself, you'll actually notice right here, there's a couple wires that come out of it. What that is actually doing is it actually recognizes how much weight is on the bike. It actually senses where the suspension is actually supposed to be with both the rider, if there's a passenger, and also if you're carrying some luggage around.
Okay.
So this way it's actually adapting towards your riding. But on top of that, with this, it actually does lower the moment you turn it on. It actually lowers about 1.5 inches. There's also a couple other things you could do as well. The seat itself actually has 2 different height positions that you could set it at,
Okay.
which also gives you a little bit more. So there's definitely some things that, even though it looks tall, the moment you sit on it, the suspension itself isn't that bad.
Kevin, I appreciate you having me come over here, going over all the 2023 models. Now, if anybody wants to come up to Rock and Roll Harley Davidson, how can they find you and contact you?
So, well, like you said, my name's Kevin. I'm here at Rock and Roll City Harley Davidson. We're here at the corner of 150th and Brook Park. You're always welcome to stop on by. We had a lot of great, both new and pre-owned options. I got over 100 motorcycles.
Got a
in
whole
here.
sea of motorcycles
So
over here.
whatever you're looking for, depending on your riding needs, or, you know, even if you're just wanting to add to the collection, you're always welcome to stop by.
Now, can we find you online?
Absolutely. So you can find us at rockandrollcityharleydavidson.com. You could always call our shop number as well.
Yeah, guys, come out here, check them out. I bought 4 bikes from here. Perfect service every time. Thanks, man. Appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. Thank you.